Kyle Larson has a perfect day by dominating and winning today's NASCAR Cup Series race, but Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski all have disastrous issues. Let's talk about NASCAR in the Heartland at Kansas Speedway. Hello everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert, and let's talk about NASCAR at Kansas Speedway in Kansas City in the Heartland. And it was Kyle Larson who put on an absolute dominating performance, had a perfect weekend, started on pole, won both stages, and won the race, and had the fastest lap. Dominant performance. We'll talk about some guys that had a lot of trouble today. Once again, Bubba Wallace, who we expected to run well. Denny Hamlin having issues coming off of pit road. We had William Byron with issues. Brad Keselowski looked like he had a good chance to at least contend for the win against Kyle Larson, but had a tire failure. Let's break down everything that took place in the mile-and-a-half Kansas Speedway today. Certainly, I thought it was a good race. I do want to mention that I think today was a good race. Once again, I know that Kyle Larson completely dominated the race, leading the most laps. There was one point in this race where he was not leading, but that was a small portion of the race. Ultimately won and dominated the race essentially. But I think it was a good race today, and I still think Kansas Speedway is a really good racetrack. Once again, there are going to be times that a driver will figure out a racetrack. Kyle Larson did this a few years ago in Miami. I think it was 2022, the first race in this car at Miami, where he dominated the race in this fashion again in Miami a few years ago. That doesn't make the racetrack bad or the package for that race bad. It simply just means a driver had it figured out, a team had it figured out, and I think that's what we got today with Kyle Larson. We saw tons of passing through the field all day long, legitimate passing where you could maneuver on different lanes. The high lane was certainly preferred, but you could go down to the low lane and make some moves. The middle lane was also prevalent. I thought today's race was sort of fun to watch just with all those aspects. I think Kansas Speedway is still one of the best tracks in NASCAR, even though there wasn't many passes for the lead today because Kyle Larson had it figured out. I don't think that makes it a bad race or a bad car at this racetrack. I do want to mention that, but Kyle Larson overall dominated today, right? Like I said, won the first stage, won the second stage, started on pole, by the way, and won the race and had the fastest lap. So 61 points today for Kyle Larson. That will give him the lead of the regular season point standings over William Byron now. So once again, that's big. That pays big dividends. That's 15 points going into each round of the playoffs. Once again, second gets 10 in the regular season standings at the end of the year. The winner would get 15. That's certainly important. We're going to start looking at those points a little bit more next week following the Coca-Cola 600. That's usually when I start really analyzing the playoff grid, because you have sort of an idea of what you're going to get moving into the summer portion, getting closer to the playoffs. And we'll analyze that a little bit more next week, getting into that. But certainly, absolutely great performance by Kyle Larson. I think today's race was good. This just shows how well Kyle Larson can run. With Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson, the driver, and this Hendrick Motorsports team, they're just so dominant. And I think I saw a statistic, maybe it was Eric Estep on Twitter, his biggest winless streak even of 2024 last year was only 8 races. So certainly this seems like they're always consistent. Even when they have trouble, they can bounce back from it. And that's what makes them so tough. That's what makes them a contender every single week. And of course, a potential championship threat every single season. Want to continue to watch Kyle Larson for the rest of this season. I'm sure there's a lot more wins to come. 3 wins this year is fairly early too. Once again, only 12 races complete. And he's got 3 of those wins. Christopher Bell has 3 also. Let's talk about the top 10, right? Christopher Bell did finish second today. It was kind of close, right? Kyle Larson looked like he had a tire rub, maybe a lot of tire wear at the end. It seemed like everyone was kind of hanging on those last 10 laps to try to get to the finish. Once again, tire wear was very prevalent in today's NASCAR race at Kansas, but Christopher Bell comes up short today, finishing in the second position. Christopher Bell's sort of interesting, right? Won those 3 races early on in the year, was up front at Daytona, but didn't finish the race because of a late race incident. Won the following 3 races, and then kind of fell off a cliff, right? I mean, as far as speed goes, they were able to get some results, able to finish in the top 10, but the speed has not been there for Christopher Bell since that 3-race win streak. It's been a little bit of a downslope for Bell. Once again, long season, things will go down and come back up, but Christopher Bell showed a lot of speed today. Very realistically could have challenged Kyle Larson. I think he was the closest thing to getting to Kyle Larson today. Christopher Bell finishes in the second position, so a solid points day for him today. We'll have to continue to watch him moving forward. Maybe a little bit of a rivalry we could start to make up here. Kyle Larson with 3 wins this year, Christopher Bell with 3 wins this year, and once again, finishing 1-2 today. We'll have to watch both of those drivers Both of them very serious championship threats at this point in the season. We'll have to continue to watch them through the summer stretch coming up, going into Charlotte. Should be exciting. Ryan Blaney, another one of those drivers that's really strong all year, every type of racetrack, just cannot get the win, right? Ryan Blaney, it's frustrating for him, but a nice top 3 today. I wouldn't say he had the win slip through his fingers today like we've seen at other racetracks. You go back to Darlington, you go back to a week ago at Texas where things just did not go his way. I mean, so small things that I don't really know if you could control. Cost Ryan Blaney those wins, but a nice third place finish today. Didn't see a situation where a win slipped through his fingers today, but certainly Ryan Blaney, a lot of speed this year, and they're executing well too. You go back to Miami as well when he blew an engine. Just they're executing better. If they can get to the finish, get one of these race wins, I think it's coming very soon. Could be in a couple weeks at the Coke 600. We'll have to keep an eye out for him. Ryan Blaney, nice third place finish. Chase Briscoe, solid fourth place finish. Top 5 for Chase Briscoe in the 19 team. Once again, his first season at Joe Gibbs Racing. Alex Bowman, a nice top 5. Seemed like Alex Bowman's always very consistent, right? This has been the same thing for multiple years now. Alex Bowman in the 48 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, always top 5, at least always top 10, but has not won on an oval race. The only race he has won in the last, 3 years is the Chicago Street Race last year. So it's not won on an oval since Las Vegas at the beginning. Was it the third race of 2022? It's been a while for Alex Bowman winning at a normal oval intermediate type racetrack, which is certainly interesting to point out, but always consistent, which is certainly very important too. Josh Berry finishing the 6th position, has been fast all year in the mile and a halves, but has not gotten the results, was able to get the results today. Did win at Las Vegas earlier this year, but with that sort of as an outlier, I don't think he's top 20 in points, at least going into today. He was outside the top 20 in points, but a nice 6th place finish today. He is in the playoffs, guaranteed, but in regular season points was outside the top 20. Finishes 6th today. Nice run for Josh Berry for the Wood Brothers team. They have the speed. It's now about execution, which is maybe easier to clean up, but we certainly still see a lot of issues from a lot of teams as everything's so tight with the next-gen car. Ryan Preece finished in the 7th position. Some good results by Ryan Preece in the 60 car. I thought this was going to take longer to get this third Roush Fenway Kozlowski Racing car, RFK car. I thought it was going to take longer to get this 60 car up to par with everyone else, or really, getting top 10s consistently, having a chance to compete for the playoffs. I thought it was going to be a bit of an uphill battle for this team. They've kind of come out swinging, right? A few top 10s already this year. They seem to be running good, have solid speed, and getting solid results. Right behind him is Chris Buescher in the 17. A nice top 10 for Chris Buescher once again. Certainly a playoff contender, Chris Buescher, and probably later on in the season, we could see him contending for race wins. Just has to get back over that hump. Joey Logano in the 9th position. A nice top 10 for Joey Logano. Seems to turn things around a little bit. Seems like Logano has a struggle a lot, and then he gets the race win like he did last week, and all of a sudden he's back into it. So we'll certainly have to watch the 22 Ford and how he will continue to progress through the rest of the year. Another top 10 for Legacy Motor Club today. John Nemechek finishing in the 10th position. That's certainly impressive for that team. It's been a rough year for them, been a rough few years for the entire Legacy Motor Club organization with those Toyotas. Eric Jones did not have such a great day today, but a nice top 10. Once again, both cars in the top 10. They had 2 cars in the top 10 a week ago at Texas. John Nemechek back in the top 10. I believe this is his 4th top 10 this year in the 12 races. While that doesn't sound fantastic for some teams and drivers, I think for this team, with the amount of speed we've seen at some racetracks and how the previous years have gone, this is a good step in the right direction. Finished top 10 at Daytona, top 10 in Atlanta, and then, of course, last week at Texas, and then today, I believe, are the four times he's finished in the top 10. I'll have to go back and check on that, but certainly very interesting to watch him continue to progress. I want to talk about a few drivers that we did not see run well today, and let's start out with 23XI, right? 2311 Racing, Denny Hamlin's team. Well, first off, Denny Hamlin didn't have a good day, but where was 2311? They've dominated at this racetrack in previous years. One of those teams that we expected to be up front here with multiple wins in the next-gen car, always shows a lot of speed. They had a disastrous day. Corey Heim was actually the top driver today for 2311 Racing, not even running a full-time schedule, finished in the 13th position. Certainly interesting there. Tyler Reddick finishing 17th. Disappointing. I know he was not, had some issues throughout the day on pit road and other situations, but overall did not even show really top 5, top 10 speed. I was expecting him to be potentially a contender for the win. If I, would look at Kansas, the way he's run there in the past, has won at this racetrack before. Certainly disappointing by Tyler Reddick. And Tyler Reddick's been a little bit, as far as the speed goes, off par with previous year. Once again, he made the Final Four a year ago. He's been a little bit, seems to take a bit of a down step since then, slightly. Once again, it's a long season. Things will change, but Tyler Reddick has not been contending for wins at any point so far this season that I can think of right now. Once again, Riley Herbst finishing 27th. It's been just a rough year for him overall at every particular racetrack. Was hoping today would be sort of a turnaround just because of the history of this team. And then you had Bubba Wallace finishing 33rd. Wallace, just an unfortunate situation. Very early on in the race, got a pit road penalty from the pit crew and just could never recover, right? Was in recovery mode from there on out. I don't think they had the speed that they have had previously at this racetrack. Once again, Bubba Wallace has won here in 2022 at Kansas in the fall race, but today just could not quite get things turned around. And then, of course, got caught up in an accident later on in the race. Very frustrating for them. William Byron had some issues as well. Was actually in the second position, I believe, when he had a tire go down, had to come on pit road, change the tire. Very unfortunate situation there. Once again, tire wear was a real issue today for a lot of drivers, and some cautions potentially saved some guys up front, like Kyle Larson, like Christopher Bell, that were having issues. William Byron ultimately unable to recover, finished 24th today. So the 24 car finished 24th today at Kansas. So certainly that's hurting him because that makes him lose that points lead, and he gave up all those stage points as well that he could have got for finishing in the top 10 in those stages. So certainly very disappointing for William Byron today at Kansas. We'll see if he can get it turned around. Your Daytona 500 winner. That's the only race he's won so far this season. Brad Keselowski, massive issues today, right? Kyle Larson certainly was the class of the field all day long, but Brad Keselowski was running second, was gaining on Kyle Larson a little bit. That could have been because Larson was saving, but Brad Keselowski trying to, at least have a shot to go for the win. Was very realistically, if things had gone his way, things would have went a little bit different. He could have won today's race, at least got a nice solid top 5 finish today. Has a tire go down, slams the wall, and that just sums up Keselowski's year and all, right? You go back to Darlington when he's running up front, has a lug nut fall off, crashes. You go back to multiple other races this year. Brad Keselowski he's outside the top 30 in points, but he's not that bad, right? He's not a non-top 30 driver. He's not in the top 30 on speed. His teammates, once again, both finished in the top 10 today. They both finished well at Darlington and a few other racetracks this year. Things cannot just not go right for Brad Keselowski at all so far this season. We'll see if they can get it turned around, but I don't really know what to tell him. I don't really know what to say about Keselowski right now because it seems like everything that can possibly go wrong, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to him, which is very unfortunate for him. I'm sure there's some frustration starting to build with, you can say bad luck. You can also say, pushing the tire pressure too far. They have to analyze what they can do to get the finishes, get the results, and get a little bit of speed too. They've been slower. He's been slower. Brad Keselowski's been slower than his two RFK teammates all year as well, which is just strange because he's the team owner, right? Kyle Busch with issues again today. How many times have we seen him sliding down the Kansas back straightaway in the next gen car? It's been plenty of times. I think maybe every race that he's ran there with RCR, it's been multiple times. He slides down the Kansas City back straightaway. Certainly. Or the Kansas Speedway back straightaway, certainly frustrating there. He finishes outside the top 20 today. Just frustrating for Kyle Busch. Just can't get it together. Once again, like I said, can't get it together. I don't expect it to change. Why would it, right? This has been the same thing for him for multiple years. It hasn't gone up or down. It's been for over a year and a half, just the same issues that we see all the time for the 8 team. Of course, very, very frustrating. Denny Hamlin also had some issues today, was running in the top 5, looked to have a really fast race car, right? Was actually, passing, slicing through the field. I don't know if he really had enough for Kyle Larson. We would never really get to see it because he didn't get out in clean air, but certainly had a fast race car today. Denny Hamlin fast at every racetrack, one of those very top contenders so far this season in the NASCAR Cup Series, but did have issues, had issues with the clutch, stalled on pit road. They were having some issues with this throughout the entire race getting off of pit road, but the pit crew, kind of pushed the car, got it started. They would be able to take off. Midway through the race, that was not the case. The engine or the car just completely shut off on them. They could not get going because of the clutch issues, the throttle body issues, and Denny Hamlin had to get pushed to the garage. They tried to work on it, but I don't think he ever got back out on the racetrack. Certainly disappointing for Denny Hamlin that he wasn't able to get a solid result today. So once again, that's William Byron and Denny Hamlin, both of those that are trying to win a regular season championship, had issues today, while Kyle Larson got the max amount of points. So we want to continue to watch that moving through the rest of the year. Coca-Cola 600 in 2 weeks should be exciting. We'll try to do some videos before that. Certainly we'll have to break down the All-Star All-Star race. I'll be in Florida during that next week. We'll definitely make a Dirty Air. Should be exciting with all the rules coming out. We'll have to monitor that and, analyze what happens following the All-Star race too. But of course, that's it. All there is to talk about, and of course, about Kyle Busch sliding on the back straightaway at Kansas. Let's get rowdy.